What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Symphonic Warrior Punk deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Izzy. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to play because of just how well Symphonic Warrior and Punk work together. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description for every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely give Izzy some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Guitar. Guitar is definitely a 3 of in the build, one of the best starters for your Symphonic Warrior cards, because if this card's in your Pendulum Zone, you can discard a card to special summon a Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck, which is an amazing effect to instantly get the exact monster you want on your side of the field. And when this card is normal summon, you can actually target a Symphonic Warrior monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is a great effect to get you an additional monster out of the graveyard to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Guitariz. Guitariz is a great extender in the deck that's also a scale 0 and a tuner that helps you bounce your cards back from your side of the field back to your hand, which is a great effect for this card to have. This card has a great pendulum effect that lets you target one other Symphonic Warrior card that you control and return both that card and this card back to your hand. And if you have Symp Amplifier in your field spell zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually target one card in your pendulum zone and return it back to your hand, which is a great effect to help you balance your pendulum scales back to your hand off this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of DJJ. DJJ is a great 3 of in the deck that actually works with their copy of Synths because it's a flip effect monster, which is absolutely crazy. As this card is one of the most powerful cards in the entire build when you combine it with your copy of Synth, because this card has the ability that once per turn during your main phase, you can flip a face down defense position Symphonic Warrior monster you control to face up defense position, and if a Symphonic Warrior monster effect is activated except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your Pendulum Zone, which is an amazing ability to instantly bring this card out because its other effect will actually go off. If this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon a Symphonic Warrior monster from the deck in face down defense position except another copy of this card, or if you have Symp Amplifier in your field spell zone, you can special summon a Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck instead. But you have to negate its effects, which is the only downside to it actually summoning out the monster, but it gets you an additional monster out on your side of the field, which is amazing. We then play 3 copies of Synths. Synths is really good as a 3 of in the deck to be able to flip up with your copy of DJJ, because this card has the ability, if this card is flipped face up, you get to add a Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is such a powerful effect to instantly grab one of your monsters from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Mike's. Mike's is definitely a 2 of in the build because this card gives you an additional normal summon when it's on your side of the field, which is an amazing effect to instantly give you an additional normal summon, and it's such a powerful effect, especially with your Punk cards. Then we have a single copy of Piano. Piano is really good as a 1 of in the deck because this card is actually a tuner, which is going to help us go for a lot of cool synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of Z-Almond, getting into the Punk cards. This card is basically the searcher for the deck, lets you pay 600 life points to add a Punk monster from your deck to your hand, making it the best starter in the entire Punk engine outside of your Foxy Tomb. We then play a single copy of Wagon. Wagon is really good as a 1 of in the deck. This card actually searches the field spell because you can pay 600 life points to add a Punk spell card from your deck to your hand, which is an amazing effect to instantly get to our copy of our field spell. We then play a single copy of Madam Spider. Madam Spider is really good as a 1 of in the build as well, because you can pay 600 life points to add a Punk trap card from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be searching against your copy of Dangerous Kaboo. We'll play a single copy of Shirakusai. This card gets effects depending on whose turn it is, which is amazing, because you can pay 600 life points to be able to fusion summon a Punk fusion monster from your X deck using monsters in your hand or field as material, but during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can pay 600 life points to immediately effect results, synchro summon a Punk synchro monster using monsters that you control as a material, which is going to help you summon out your copy of Amazing Dragon during the opponent's turn to give you multiple bounces, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of Deer Note. Deer Note's just a really good combo piece for your Punk engine, and it helps out a lot in this deck, is it lets you reveal one other Punk monster in your hand and special summon either the real monster or this card and send the other to the graveyard. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually target a Punk monster in your grave, except a level 5 monster, and special summon it. But you cannot special summon Deer Note for the rest of the turn, which is a great effect to help you bring back one of your monsters to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune is definitely a 3-of in the build. It's just a great combo piece overall in the deck, as this card is a great ability that you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then send another card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Punk monster from your deck except a level 8 monster, which is going to help you either get your copy of your Xiamen to your side of the field, or your copy of your Deer Note to your side of the field, or even Shirakusai to your side of the field, depending on what your setup is. We then play 2 copies of Ogre Dance. Ogre Dance is basically the Rhoda for Punk, because this card has the ability you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to add a Punk monster from your deck to your hand, except a level 8 monster, meaning you can actually send this card to the graveyard and then be able to grab your copy of your Xiamen directly from your deck to your hand so you can perform the Punk combos. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Instant Fusion. I actually have a really cool target in the extract that goes with the theme of this deck that's a great extender in our extract that we can summon off of Instant Fusion, because you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon a level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extract, but it can attack, and also it's destroyed during the end phase, but I have a really cool target in the extract for this particular deck. We then play a single copy of Jam Extreme Session. Jam Extreme Session is basically a pot of greed for the deck. It has the ability once per turn you can banish a Punk card from your graveyard to special summon a Punk monster from your hand. And if a psychic monster you control paid life points to activate its effect, you can actually draw a card, and you can activate that effect up to twice per turn, giving you a draw 2, which is amazing. We then play 2 copies of Synth Amplifier. Synth Amplifier is really cool to be able to play in the deck as a 2-of, because this card gives you different effects depending on the amount of counters on this card, which is so cool, because each time an effect of a Symphonic Warrior card is activated, you place a Symp counter on this card. And when that effect resolves, all Symphonic Warrior monsters that on the field gain 100 attack for each Symphonic counter on this card, and once per turn, you can remove 5 or 7 Symphonic counters from this field to be able to apply the effect depending on the number that you remove. If you remove 5 counters, you inflict 300 points of damage to your opponent for each Symphonic Warrior card on the field, and if you remove 7 counters, you banish cards your opponent controls or from their graveyard up to the number of Symphonic Warrior cards on the field, which is a pretty cool effect to just help you get cards off the field, but you do have to do a little bit of work in this deck to be able to get those Symphonic counters on this card. We then play 2 copies of General Probe. General Probe is really cool as a 2-of in the deck. This card has the ability each time an effect of a Symphonic Warrior card is activated, you place a Symphonic counter on the field when that effect resolves on this card. Also, you can remove 3 Symphonic counters from your field to add one of your Symphonic Warrior monsters from your deck to your hand, and if you normal or special summon Symphonic Warrior monster, except during the damage step, you can add the field spell from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to instantly grab the copy of your field spell directly from your deck to your hand to grab Amplifier. We then play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly's definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just special summon out your copy of Xiamen directly from your deck to your side of the field, which is amazing to instantly get your copy of Xiamen to your side of the field so you can go in for a full Punk combo. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing one, and that's going to be a single copy of Dangerous Gaboo. Dangerous Gaboo is searchable off of Madam Spider, and this card is basically a negate that lets you target an effect monster that your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. Then, if you control a Punk monster, you gain life points equal to target monster's original attack, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use with this card. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Amazing Dragon. This card is one of my favorite synchro monsters ever created because of its artwork alone. This card gives you multiple balances, which is absolutely crazy, and you can also summon this card during your opponent's turn using your copy of Shirakusai's effect, which is absolutely amazing. As if this card is synchro summon, you can actually target cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 psychic monsters with different names that you control and in your graveyard and return them back to the hand, which is such a powerful disruption effect. And play a single copy of Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher is definitely a one-in build because this card can get absolutely massive and just help you swing in for game. We then play a single copy of the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. This card is just our level 10 option that we can make in the deck, and it's really good in the deck because for each banished card, this card gains 100 attack and defense, and all monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense. And this card would be destroyed by a card effect. You can banish this card from the grave instead, and if a card becomes banished while this card's on the field, you can banish a card each from both your opponent's field and graveyard, which is insane because it doesn't even target. I'll make a single copy of Draco Berserker because it helps us swing in for game. One copy of Jam Dragon Drive. Jam Dragon Drive is really good in the deck as one-up because if this card is special summoned by the effect of a P.U.N.K card or it's synchro summon, you can actually pay 600 life points to take a level 3 psychic monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, which is an amazing effect just to instantly grab the exact card you need off this card's effect. And then play a single copy of the Symphonic Warrior Rocks, which is really cool to be able to play in the deck and such a powerful card in this build, as if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle by card effect, you can place this card in your pendulum zone, and also this card has a really cool ability. If this card is special summoned, you can add a face-up pendulum monster from your X deck back to your hand, and if you have the amplifier in your field spell zone, you can actually destroy a card on the field, which is a pretty cool effect, but I absolutely love this card in the build. I'll make a single copy of Odd Eye's Meteor Burst. Odd Eye's Meteor Burst is a really cool combo piece in the deck. So when this card is special summon, you can actually target a card in your pendulum zone and special summon it, which is a great effect to instantly summon out a monster out of your pendulum zone, especially with your Symphonic Warrior cards, basically putting themselves in the pendulum scales so that you can go in for pendulum summons. But this card is great to summon out as it gets you an additional monster on the field. Then play a single copy of Rising Carp. Rising Carp is really good in the deck as a 1-0 because this card lets you tribute this fusion summon card to special summon to 2 P.U.N.K monsters with different names from each other from your hand and or deck, except a level 8 monster in defense position, which is a great effect to help you summon out a level 3 P.U.N.K monster plus a copy of Deer Note to your side of the field, which is going to get you so many different plays in this deck. We then play a single copy of Musician King. Musician King is the instant fusion target I was talking to you guys about because this deck is very punk rock, and I wanted to find a place for this card in the deck because the Symphonic cards are like the instruments and the P.U.N.K cards are the ones playing them, and so I wanted to find a place for Musician King in the deck to make it the punk rock deck. So this card is really cool in the deck as one because it's actually a great extender because you want to be able to go into level 5 or level 5 monsters so that you can use your P.U.N.K monsters to step into level 8 synchro plays like Jam Dragon Drive or the Draco Berserker, which is a good option in the deck. So this card is a really cool old school card from Metal Raider. We then play a single copy of number 38. Number 38 is just a spell negate, which is why I play this card in the deck. We then play a single copy of Garganta X. Garganta X is really cool to be able to work with a copy of Synth and DJJ because it basically with DJJ and Synth in your hand, you can go for Garganta X and then get you an additional search, which is amazing to be able to do, of another machine monster. And then play a single copy of Boral Sword because it's our main OTK piece in the extract. One copy of SP Little Knight, which you could change out for Nightmare Phoenix or Unicorn depending on what you want to play instead, but this card is a great disruption. And then play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is really good because we do play Pendulum cards in this deck, so this card gives us searches, which is nice. And finally, a single copy of Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is really good because we do summon out fusion monsters to our side of the field, so this card can help us bring back a monster from the graveyard, which is a great ability. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoy this. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Symphonic Warrior P.U.N.K deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's a really fun deck overall to be able to play, and it's amazing to be able to fuse different archetypes together, especially like this when they work so well together. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.